email validation. For body, we are giving required validation. Required validation. It is a disabled. If the form is not valid, if the form is invalid, then I am telling to disable the button. If you don't enter the proper data in the form, then button is in the disable mode. When you enter the data, then only button is enabled. If you don't enter the data, button is disabled. Okay. So button disabling but enabling also we are doing the validation based on this disabled property. Disabled is equal to form.invalid. If a form is invalid, disabled is equal to true. If the form is valid, disabled is equal to false. So if I keep disabled is equal to true, always the button will be disabled. Always button will be disabled. If I give disabled is equal to false, always button will be enabled. I don't want to set the true or false manually. I want to set the true or false based on the form validness. Form.invalid. If the form is invalid, true. Then disabled is equal to true. If the form is valid, then this invalid will become false. Then disabled will become false. Alright. Email I am giving, body I am giving, then it is enabled. So disabled property we are using to enable or disable our form. To enable or disable our form button. The difference is in between the template driven field and react. If I choose between template driven, the reactive I am writing input form control name is equal to email, ID is equal to email, type is equal to text, class is equal to form control, text is equal to form control. This is input variable. Input. This is our reactive field. Reactive field. Same field how we are doing in the template driven approach. Same field we are doing in the template driven approach by using input type is equal to text. Input type is equal to text. ng model is equal to first name, email. ng model is equal to email. Then class is equal to some form control, something like this. ng model is equal to email, some class is equal to form control, id is equal to email, id that is common for every field, id is equal to email, class is equal to form control, class is equal to form control, like this. We are writing template driven field. See the difference? See the difference between template driven form field and reactive form field? The difference is very minor. Here we are representing this field by using form control. Here the field is represented by using form control. Here the field is represented by using directive. Reactive form field, reactive form field, template driven form field. Reactive form field and template driven form field. If you can understand the difference, then you can develop both types of forms. Both types of forms. Now, reactive form fields will be represented by form control. Form control will be created in the component class. Template driven form fields nothing but variables in the component, properties in the component. Form control will play the major role here. Form control, and here data property. Data property which is nothing but a variable. Reactive form field will use form control concept. It will use a variable concept. Reactive form field will use form control concept. Template driven form field will use data property concept. Good. Reactive form field with the form control name. Template driven form field with ng model. To develop the reactive forms, we are going to use reactive forms model. Reactive forms module. We are going to use reactive forms module. To develop the template driven forms, we will use just forms module. Reactive forms module and forms module. Reactive forms module and forms module. Here in the document I have given clearly how can you create a form with reactive form field, because if you see the component class here, for every field I have created one form control. For every field I have created one form control. Name form control, email form control, body form control. Using that form control I have created fields. For the fields I have created validation. Validation is very simple. Ng if directive. If form field is touched and if the form field is invalid, then execute this validation. Then execute this validation. Okay. Right. In the reactive form and template driven form, submitting is same. Here also ng submit is equal to submit. Ng submit is equal to submit. So I am calling the function. For the form tag I am giving ng submit is equal to submit function is calling. In the component class submit is available. This dot form dot value. It is representing form. It is form binding object kind of thing. Form binding object kind of thing. Form dot value. That form data is stored to the form controls. We can directly print form dot value, name, email, body, values will come for us. Submit is common. This is custom function just to return the form controls. Get f is a function to return the form controls. F it is used to return the form controls. That's it. Here I am calling that f na form controls. For validation purpose I am just taking the f function which is going to return the form control. What are the fields available in the form? Those fields are returning by this get f. It is returning form controls. What are the fields available in the form? It is going to return that. What are the fields available in the form? It is going to return those fields. That's it. It is used for validation purpose. When the form is submitted, this submit button will be called. The only thing is, in the reactive form, form fields will be represented by a form group. In the normal template driven form, form fields will be represented by using variables. Now you see here form fields are represented by using variables and their form fields will be represented by using form group. Perfect. So we understood forms. There are two types of forms we can use. One is template driven approach and reactive approach. When to go for template driven? When to go for template driven? If your form is very simple, if you want to develop the forms by using ng model directive. If you want to develop the form by using ng model directive, then go for template driven. When you want to develop a form complex logic with the form groups concept, then go for reactive forms approach. In both approaches, validations are same. How to do the validation on the form? In the both approaches, validation concept is same. So in the material, I have given the notes also how to create the project. Step-by-step document I have given. Creating reactive forms application. Reactive forms are called as model driven forms. Create a project, project name, then write the styles in the CSS, import the reactive module, form validations in the constructor using validators, method to handle the form submission. Then here, these are the global CSS we want to write, and this is app module where we are importing reactive forms module, right? Then here I am creating one form group. In the form group I am creating my 3 form controls. These are the fields, and I am writing one function to handle the form submission. Here for the form I am writing ng submit directive, event binding. When you submit this form, this function will be called. This function printing the form data on the console. This is one input field. For that input field here validations are available, and this is another input field. For that validations are available here, and this is third input field, text area. For that validations are available here, and here button is available to click. If the form is invalid, button will be disabled. If the form is valid, button will be enabled. If you want to apply some bootstrap styles for your form, then install the bootstrap, install the jQuery, install the popper.js for that project. Once you install the bootstrap, configure the bootstrap strips in the project, bootstrap scripts in the project by using angular.json file. You need to edit the styles and scripts like this. In the angular.json file, we have styles and scripts, right? So those styles and scripts we have modified as per our requirement. We have modified styles and scripts as per our requirement in the reactive forms project. See, angular.json. In the angular.json, styles and scripts are modified. Good. Next. Anyone having doubts now? You can raise your hand. Vikas Kumar, what's your doubt? Hitesh, what's your doubt?
Yes, sir. Hi.
Hi.
Sir, I have multiple starting when you started. Sorry for that, but yeah, I have. So coming into the first, if you share the screen, yeah, fine. Sir, one thing is like this template driven and the reactive form, right? So both requirement wise will be same, right? As per the requirement, we can do in template also, we can do by reactive.
Yes, anything, it's up to you. So if I get a form, if I want a form to develop, then I can do the form development based on the reactive approach, or I can do based on the template driven approach. The only difference is when you go for the reactive approach, you are using a form control concept. Every field that you want to display in the form, you are declaring the component itself. You see here, there is a reactive form approach, there is a form group is created. So this is one field. In the component itself, we are declaring what are the validations you want to apply for that field. Got it?
Okay, then sir, another thing. So the validation what we have used for the template driven and for the for reactive. So as per the requirement, it will change. For an example, we have a radio button or the checklist or anything. For that, what we can do, like same way, like dot.
Same thing, no? Is it mandatory field or not? That you have to identify. If it is mandatory field, you will specify it as a required. Required means it is mandatory.
Okay.
Whether it is a radio button, whether it is a checkbox, whether it is a drop down, or whatever it is. Required means it is mandatory.
Okay. Another thing, sir, like if my requirement will be, I will be showing the pop-up or the dialog box or the message box. Okay. So when I click to username, so I want like the alert should be coming, like pop-up.
Yes, that in the mini project I will show you the alerts. When you submit the form is submitted successfully, I want to display one alert message, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that we will do. We will do that.
Okay. Okay. Fine. I think this required practice only.
Yes, man. Yeah, practice is required because both are little confusing.
Yeah.
It requires a practice.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Sir,
Yeah, hi madam.
Yes, sir. Getf method, it has come within that only, right?
In the validations we are calling na, here you see ngf f I am using here. What is
Yeah,
this f? Yeah, I'm getting the form control. With that I'm getting the email. That is for form validation purpose. That's it. F, it is returning what are the controls available in the form.
Okay. So when you open the browser, it is coming directly red, right, sir? Like, did we change anything anywhere?
Yeah,
or like,
CSS we have added na, styles.css we have added some bootstrap. Here I have added.
not in React user. In the first
Both,
one. No?
in the both.
Okay.
Yeah,
First,
this. If the field is invalid na, then I am telling that field border should be highlighted with red color. Invalid touched. If the field is invalid, and if it is touched, then red color border should be coming.
Okay. Even the first time also it will be
Yes.
coming. Okay.
Yes. If the field is valid, then it will come as a green color. You see, when I touch that field and when I enter the data valid, it is coming green color border.
Yes.
If I give it, red color border is coming. So that is CSS. Border solid red, border solid green. That is managed in the CSS. I have given that you need to keep the CSS in the styles.css file, global styles.
Okay.
Here I kept it. This one.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. That is making your field border is red or blue. If it is invalid field, red color border. If it is valid field, green color border.
Sir, like this CSS, whatever the logic you have written, right? ng hyphen invalid. So with this logic you are getting, like, see, there is a format because it's not a CSS format we are writing. Like as per the normal CSS we are not writing. It is we are writing in Angular base, right?
Yes. Input ng valid, ng touched, right? So I am writing ng valid and ng touched. It is a combination of both. It is valid and it is touched. So if you go for the HTML, I am writing this valid and touched. Invalid and invalid. That is a bootstrap way of doing that CSS.
Yeah, how you are getting that one? Can you any like document or any?
Yeah,
like,
you have your official bootstrap website. Official bootstrap website, you can go there and you can search for it. Getbootstrap.com. Here you can see that. So a lot of docs will be available. How to display a form, how to display customize, how to display the layout, how to display the form, and all this input group, form control, everything you can get from CSS. Here I have taken the form control from CSS only. From here you can get it. Getbootstrap.com is the website. Validation for the forms. How the form validations we are going to do, all these things we can get from here. Okay. Yeah, see here these kind of validations are coming like this. Success, failure. This getbootstrap.com validations. I will give you in the Telegram. Yeah, get bootstrap. There you can find out how to do the validations, how to display the buttons with the primary green color button, red color buttons and all. Code already I have given Mr. Swaraj Prakash. I have given this code for practice. I have uploaded the complete material in the website.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Sir, why we are specifying twice that hashtag first name and last name, hash first name, last name in Angular?
You can remove, maybe by mistake I have maybe specified that, sir. You can remove that, no problem.
Okay, sir. I was confused why we are using twice. Is it mandatory or?
No. You can remove that. You can remove it.
Okay.
Okay.
And one more doubt was there in between. That was clear after some time. As we are using validation message for first line, so my doubt was how can we use for multiple validation like required, min length, max.
Yeah, that's already.
One thing I observed that for max length, our length is swapping for 11th variable.
Yeah.
Not message not coming, no sir.
Yes, sir. Because in the HTML, when you specify the max length, it is not allowing that field. It is not allowing after that character. So validation.
Yeah, I understood. Validation message must come. Then why we are writing validation message as it's no use?
It is HTML behavior. If it is HTML behavior, then what you need to do in that scenario is Without specifying the max length, you need to get the field value and you need to do the custom validation for that.
Okay, means we need to give some numbers there, and after
Yes.
that, okay.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
sir,
yes,
understood.
yes.
Yes,
Okay.
clear. Sir.
Fine, guys.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Sir, actually in template-driven form, we are writing one line of validation logic, but in reactive form, we are writing 3 lines.
No, sir. There also one line or 2 lines, because when you have single validation, then one line is sufficient. Na? If you have only required validation, then one line is sufficient. Why 3 lines I am writing? It is required plus valid email address. 2 validations I want to do. For the name field, I want to do 2 validations. Required validation, min length validation. That's why I am writing 2 lines. If I want to do only required, then I will go with only 1 line validation. Validations are same for both approaches.
Sir, but their template form, in one line we write max length, min length, and required.
Yeah, validations you are specifying in the template file. Here validations you are specifying in the component itself. Na? Required validation, min length validation. Validations we are specifying here only. In the form control only we are going to specify the validation. There in the template form, in the template file you are going to specify what are the validations you want to apply. Okay.
Yeah.
Here you are specifying min length, max length. Where you are specifying in the template file you are specifying the validations. But when it comes to here, are you specifying in the template file in the reactive approach? No. In the component class only you are going to specify that. In the component class only you are specifying the validations.
Okay.
Yep. Form control will represent everything. What is the field and what are the validations.
And what is dot errors? That is what that.
It means that validation is failed. Dot errors means that validation is failed.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Right. Fine, guys. So I think you guys need some time to practice this. I will stop with this for today. So tomorrow morning, no, I'm not going to take this class, guys. So please practice the forms concept. So tomorrow morning, we are going to learn how to use HTTP client module to send calls to the backend. So the front end backend integration we are going to do in the tomorrow morning session. How backend REST API will be available, how to access the backend REST API from the Angular by using HTTP client, front end backend integration with Ajax we are going to do in the tomorrow morning session. So tomorrow morning we are going to start the class at 7:30. Tomorrow morning we are going to start the class at 7:30. Okay, fine, guys. Tomorrow morning 7:30 we will start the session. 7:30 to some 9:30 we will take 2 hours. We will complete the Ajax and integration part. Then after that we will take a break and we'll have a breakfast. Then 10 o'clock we will start. 10 to 12 we are going to discuss about some project implementation. Okay, fine, guys. Thank you. Tomorrow morning 7:30 class. So tomorrow is very, very, very important. Don't miss the tomorrow session, because how Spring Boot application and Angular application will be integrated, that we are going to discuss in the tomorrow session. Thank you. I will see you tomorrow morning at 7:30. Bye bye.